Hello and welcome! It is Vintage Super League time once again. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by Seth Manfield. Welcome to VSL, Seth.
Hey everyone, excited to be here. Play some vintage tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, you got a little taste of it in the team season, right? And decided you wanted to come back for more?
Yeah, I played. My team was called the Blue Crab Club, and it was with Ari Lax and Jarvis Yu, a couple of Maryland guys. So yeah, we technically were playing. we, we didn't get many W's, unfortunately, but hopefully, maybe I can. I'm doing it for them. They wanted me to. We didn't get wins there, so hopefully I can redeem myself a little bit here. Although I will say I'm probably one of the most inexperienced vintage players in the field.
Inexperienced at vintage, perhaps, but you do okay with the magic cards in your hands.
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna have them in my hands here, Randy. I'm gonna
Oh, is that the problem?
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's not a big deal because you've got the MPL coming up, the Magic Professional League. That's all arena based.
That's true. That is true. I'm trying to get a handle on playing Magic from my computer as much as possible because hey, that could be the wave of the future, the way things are going.
VSL as MPL training. I like it. So we should talk a little bit about the MPL. I mean, I feel like this is the big news. If you look on on a timeline of the last couple of months of Magic, giant announcement that basically the top 32 players from last year's professional season have all been signed to contracts to participate in this Magic Professional League. Details seem a little sketchy, but you guys all got together in Renton at Wizards of the Coast last week for some kind of boot camp. Is that right?
That's correct. I was in Seattle and they put me through, like, we were all there, all 32 Magic Pro League players. Some of us are from Japan, flying across the world to go to Seattle for this boot camp.
Nice.
So, and I believe almost all of us, or maybe all of us, came out with a very positive attitude about Magic. They put us through the ringer, some press stuff, some how to stream type deal. Because let's face it, a lot of us didn't really stream very much before the Magic Pro League announcement, and part of the deal, the contract, involved streaming.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm one of the, I would put myself in that category as someone who wasn't a professional streamer, and now I've kind of been I've opted into that role as part of the league, and it's something that we're all kind of adapting to. That was certainly part of it, and I know that there's the community in general, right? I am one of these 32 players. The community in general is a little bit antsy, right? Everyone wants the details about Pro Magic, and I can understand that. I am in the same boat in a way, but in another way, like, I am one of these 32 players, so I am in a privileged position, right?
Yeah.
There's only 32 players in the world that have this opportunity, but I can understand. There's been a lot of, I know recently, stuff about coverage, and I think I'm hopeful, and the outlook, I think, is going to be positive once we get more information from the WotC side about what's going to happen with this Pro League.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, when I imagine it, I don't know anything, by the way. I haven't been in the loop on any of the MPL stuff, so I'm like everybody else, kind of eager for information and a fan, honestly. I always picture it looking like Super League. I mean, for me, I feel like Super League has actually blazed a trail of what you can do. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I got to imagine it's a little bit like this, right? Probably, maybe.
It's funny because, like, the match that I played against Luis Salvato for the Player of the Year, that reminded me a lot of the Super League. Like, I was picking 4 decks for that tournament, and I was like, oh wow, they are trying to emulate the Super League. I don't know the exact formats for everything that's going to happen in the MPL, but it's certainly possible we will have multiple decks or multiple matches or a similar format, because the Super Leagues have been successful throughout the years, and we could see something like that on MTG Arena.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. And the one thing we kind of do know is that there is a $1 million invitational. So it's all 32 of you guys plus some number of other people happening at PAX East at the end of March. Is that the first real debut for the MPL?
It is. It really is. We're kind of everyone's gonna get excited. I'm hoping moving towards the PAX East. That's gonna be an invitational tournament where the Magic Pro League, you're gonna see it in its fullest scope,
Cool.
if you will. And there's been some announcement there's going to be some sort of league matches, something to do with playing across the year to kind of figure out who's going to rise to the top. There was this video about if you are the best Magic player in the world, everyone will know your name, or something along those lines. So I think it's going to be an exciting battle between these 32 players, including myself, because we're going to be consistently playing against one another a lot. And so the Invitational is going to be the start of that, and look for MTG Arena to start to become a platform for, not just casual play, not just earning your cards. And it's going to be competitive. It's going to be worth a lot of money. The stakes are there. The prize purse is there. So I am excited, of course, being one of the people that's going to be playing in this Invitational.
Awesome. Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's not like I was told, hey, go interview Seth about MPL or anything. I'm just genuinely curious. So should be fun. I will certainly be watching. For now, though, let's talk a little vintage. We're glad, if this respite, don't have an MPL to compete in yet. We're glad you can hang out for us here and play some vintage, which I know is not a format you play a ton of. Walk me through your preparation process. How did you wind up on, I called it a bug Leovold deck. I think I saw you call it Sultai. You can kind of tell how much longer I've been playing vintage. I don't have this fancy new lingo of Sultai worked out yet.
So going into this week, I knew that I would be playing in the same bracket as Brian, Rachel, and Aaron. And I tried to do a little bit of homework and what might they bring to the table.
Sure.
But I started to kind of just circles in my head, and then I was just trying to metagame against skilled players is often they can level you, right? So then I just went back and I'm like, what do I feel most comfortable with? And ultimately I wanted to be interacting with whatever they're doing, because I felt like they're going to be doing something crazy. I need to be able to figure out what that is that they're doing, whether it's comboing off with Academy Rector and getting Omniscience and going crazy, or whether it's
I don't know that any of us saw that one coming, but sure.
Yeah, or maybe it's milling an entire deck away with Grindstone, whatever it may be. These are things that I've not necessarily thought about myself.
Okay.
And I was ready for this, and I'm like, let me bring my counter spells, let me bring my card draw, and some interactions, some creatures, and kind of just see where things end up.
Makes sense. And this deck almost looks Legacy-like, the deck that you've gone. I know there's a 4-color Leovold control that I used to play a ton of, that at least back when you had Deathrite Shaman running around Legacy. Is that maybe a place you've played with a lot of these cards before, or?
It was strange when I was looking through the list, because I was looking at various Leo lists, and then I was like, oh, there's no Black Lotus in my deck. Wait, what? I'm playing vintage and I'm not playing Lotus. What is this? But so yeah, I can see that comparison there. It's a fair deck. What can I say? That's kind of my style. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the exact matchups, but I really like Leovold as a card. Just kind of there's so many insane card draw options in vintage. If you're playing blue, you're gonna put Ancestral Recall in your deck, right? It's just, Brainstorm, Treasure Cruise. We know about these cards that have already been banned in Legacy that are legal in vintage. So I expected people to have access. I think Brian in particular, normally, maybe I'm wrong, but he normally plays blue, some sort of blue decks, right?
So he's got some crazy
some sort of blue control is kind of what I thought he'd be on, some sort of control deck, and I thought Leovold might match up against that reasonably well. So
makes sense. Yeah, his is the deck I'm most intrigued by. Flash Rector. I think since Spellseeker got printed, and I guess Battle Bond it was, it's, you now have a way to go get that one copy of Flash because it's restricted. So suddenly you start flashing out Academy Rectors. I want to see if that deck is real. I hope it is. It looks super cool. I don't know how well it works. And he's gone all the way to Arena Rectors as well, which I'll be honest, I'm not even sure I knew that was a card.
It almost looks like a singleton deck. It was just like all one-ofs. It was like one Omniscience, one like Show and Tell, one this, one that. So
yeah, his decks tend to play with numbers. I think he's got the signature Brian Kelly 3 copies of Force of Will. But
yeah.
I mean, a lot of the singletons, though, are silver bullets, right? If you pull off Flash Academy Rector, like maybe you want Yawgmoth's Bargain, maybe you want Omniscience. It kind of depends what the rest of your hand looks like. And he's got the ability to tutor for a Show and Tell if you draw one of the bombs. I don't know.
I mean, if I'm playing my Leovold deck and he resolves an Academy Rector, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Like, where do I go from there? There's Academy Rector sitting on the battlefield, and I'm like, all right, do I attack him with my Tarmogoyf and just let him like do his thing? Like, I don't know. Like, that doesn't seem very good to me. So guess we'll have to.
You just gotta one-shot him, right? Just build up a board that can kill him in one attack phase. No problem.
Yeah, with my 2/1s and 1/2s, I'll do my best.
You've got all 4 Tarmogoyfs, right?
Yeah, I do have three Goyfs, one board for me. So yeah, I don't know. I am cautiously optimistic, but I have not really played against these decks very much, so that is my worry.
I honestly, with this week's decks, I'm not sure any of us have played against them very much.
Yeah, it's like, all right, someone's gonna bring shops, someone will bring dredge, someone will bring outcome, and I'll, this will be fine. Like,
right.
I'll at least have some, some baseline here, but
no. Or not.
Yeah.
Or I think this is week 3 of VSL, and 12 decks have been submitted. All 12 are different decks. There's been 0 overlap. There's only been 1 paradoxical outcome deck. We have had 0 of the traditional workshop decks. Like, you could argue that the Xerox decks overlap, but they're all distinctly different colors, right? One was a Monastery Mentor build, one was, 3 Lavinias. So, by my reckoning, if you count the Xerox decks as being different colors, it's 12 different decks. We're off in La La Land a little bit, which is fun to watch.
It's impressive, and I think that that's honestly what everyone wants to see, right? They want to see what Brian Kelly is going to do with his like. I want to see it, even if I lose to it. I want to see what is going to go on. Right? Or like, what is this 2-card Monty thing like? And then all of a sudden I'll be dead, and it'll be fine. I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's how this works, and I'll just. But these decks look awesome.
Yeah. So it'll be you are the first one who gets to take on Brian Kelly. That'll be the second match of the evening. The one we've got queued up momentarily is going to be Rachel Agnes against Erin Campbell. Now, Erin brought her crazy deck, but it's actually sort of the most traditional of the 4 this week. It's 2-card Monty. It's basically got we saw a little bit of this in previous seasons of VSL where there's the Helm of Obedience combo with Rest in Peace that can just instantly deck somebody, along with Painter Servant Grindstone, and some Pyroblast to spice it up a little bit if you get just the Painter Servant. So she's got both those combos in a workshop shell. Rachel, meanwhile, speaking of sweet decks, if we should put this list up if we have a minute or two. I love the way Rachel's deck has put her deck together this week because there's been a Grixis Thieves deck floating around a little bit, right? There's Notion Thief comboed with Dak Faden. And she said, no. I want to splash white in my Notion Thief deck. I want Lavinia, which is a very powerful new toy from the latest set. And then she also gets to play with the trusty Monastery Mentor that she's always had. I mean, that's been probably the card she's had the most success with over the years. So you get a Notion Thief going with this deck. She's got a Windfall. She's got a Time Twister she can cast with Notion Thief in play. Like
that's scary.
If she pulls that off, she wins the night. I don't care what her record is.
I'm very worried about it. Now that you pull up her list, I'm like, how do I answer Notion Thief? Oh, with my 3 copies of Abrupt Decay? No, that's not gonna...
4 CMC. Yeah, that Notion Thief is. Yeah, this is you see the name. She called it Lavinia Thieves. It is very much a Notion Thief deck, and there's some spice.
Yeah, I think of Notion Thief as a sideboard card, honestly, but I mean, obviously, more power to her. It seems like it could be really. That's a matchup that I'm fairly worried about. So,
no, fair enough. Yeah, like I said, it'll be Rachel and Aaron up first. I don't know. I mean, for that matchup, sounds like the players are ready. So let's head down to the action, see what we've got for this first match.